Day 5, lessons learned. When the sun shines, open up your windows and take advantage of solar heat, passive solar heating. Have replacement parts for your lamps or your lights and know how to use them. Everybody in the family should have their own headlamp, and at night, if you don't have it on your forehead, wear it around your neck, because you're going to put this down and not be able to find it in the dark, and that's just going to make you mad. And another item is, don't underestimate the power of a cup of hot tea, coffee, hot chocolate, or cider, and maybe a little whiskey in it too. Alright, tips and tricks from day 7. If it's raining, take advantage of utilizing your rainwater to fill up empty barrels for flushing or cleaning, because then this will always be topped off. You know, you're taking water out, but it's filling back up again. And having a spigot on your rain barrel and something, a bucket or something like this that you can fit underneath of it is good. I always use it for watering plants, so I do have something that fits underneath of it, but the first time you try to put a bucket under there, it's raining on you and it won't fit. Like these 5-gallon buckets here, they won't fit. So, yeah, do that stuff before you have to do it and before the rain starts. And remember, when this thing's full, it's going to be more than 60 pounds, so somebody around is going to need to be able to carry this sucker. Hopefully that'll be you. Alright, that's it so far. Another little thing that we've discovered, unfortunately, is we were depending a lot on solar power. And yeah, it doesn't work so good in the rain. But solar's good to have. It's just too bad it's not summer instead of winter, or maybe even spring. But anyway, there you go. More lessons from day 7. When you fill up your container like this and you've got the venting hole back here, just know that's the lowest point. So if you overfill that, the water's going to come out there. So really just fill up to here, not all the way up to here like I do. It's just wasted water. No bueno. So we've talked about my cooktop before, but what you guys might not realize is that we don't have natural gas out where we live. We're just too far out and they don't come out here with it. But what we do have is propane tanks outside, and so we just bring in our own propane. Our biggest tank is 90 gallons, so we bring them in manually. So we've got stovetop, even though we don't have oven. But what you've always heard, that Dutch ovens act like an oven, is very true. I wanted to show you 3 different kinds of examples that I have. These are all cast iron. This is one I got at a thrift store for $10. And it's, I don't know, it's gigantic. This is another one I got at a thrift store. I don't know how much it was, maybe 25 bucks. This is one that's been in my family for a long time, and it's a true cast iron. These are also cast iron, but they're covered in enamel. But what I did just last night is used a good quality pot with a nice heavy bottom. This came from Costco. I had some frozen cupcakes that I put in tin foil, put them in here, and enclosed them in there, and then put this on and put it on top of the wood stove. And they were frozen solid. They thawed and they were nice and hot and wonderful and gooey when we took them out. So a regular good quality pot with a lid will also work. So there you go. We've cooked lasagna already in one of these as well. I mean, it's not going to get that beautiful brown top, but it sure works. So get yourself some cast iron Dutch ovens or quality cookware, which will work as well. And know how to use it. Start to figure out how to use that. Another lesson learned. When you're planning for your lighting and you're figuring out how much kerosene or whatever you need, make note that you may have to light during the day. What time is it? Noon. And this is how dark it is in here. So I'm going to light up some more lanterns. So having kerosene on hand or whatever you're utilizing makes good sense. All right, you guys, so it's still day 7, and since it's still raining outside, I decided to take advantage of having a renewable supply of water right now. So I did all the dishes that I had stacked up, which isn't very many. You got to stay on top of that. And I cleaned all the toilets and refilled them all with water. So hopefully the hall toilet will still be the primary, and I just won't tell anybody I filled up the other ones, and then they're there if we need them. So what is the old adage? Make hay while the sun shines. So clean up when it rains. And now I've got some water. I always have water going on the wood stove, but got some more I'm trying to heat up, and I'm going to do some laundry. Stay tuned. I did a review on this light a long time ago, but since it's running right now, I thought I'd just show it to you guys again. It is an LED telescoping light that runs off the power of a tea light. It's made by the Joy Company, J-O-I. They also are the folks that make that fan up there. So you put a tea light in here, and for as long as the tea light will run at a pretty good clip, or it burns at a pretty high temperature, the light will stay on. The cheap tea lights only last an hour, so it's hardly worth it, but the better tea lights like this one will last up to 4 hours. And it is very nice to have this kind of a lot of light from a small tea light. This thing does move around, and I'll show you. All right, so you can see this is what it's like when it's down. And it's the only light that's on in here right now, other than the sunlight coming in from outside, which is minimal. But it will go all the way up. And then you can tilt it whatever way you want. And let's say you're working on some paperwork down here and you want some more light down there, you just pull it down and it'll go over whatever you're reading or writing on. So it's a cute little thing. There are a lot of Chinese knockoffs of this. Some of those claim that they'll charge telephone or cell phones and stuff. I haven't seen one that works yet. But I haven't checked out this particular maker model in a long time. So Joy, J-O-I, if I have enough power when I edit this, I'll put a link to it. But we're running on minimal power here right now, or no power in the house. What power I'm creating is from a generator or from solar, which isn't going so well. Anyway, check it out. It's kind of cool. Hey, you guys. So one thing I also learned is that I have a ton of tapered candles, the kind that go into a holder and go up straight and tall, but I do not have one tapered candle holder in my house anymore. All I have are holders for, the flat pillar type candles. So I got creative and took a jelly glass or an old canning glass, put some rocks in it, and some water, and put some of these emergency candles in here. But make sure you have holders for your candles or whatever other devices you need. Make sure you have everything for your lighting that you need ahead of time, or get creative. I did a video on this topic about a year or so ago. Every time we finished a 2-liter of some kind of fizzy beverage, we'd clean out the container and put water in the bottle, and that makes this really easy to pick up and to handle and to go into little spaces that you need, like in the bathroom for teeth brushing, face washing. It's all potable water, so somebody who can't lift up one of those big heavy jugs, I keep harping on how heavy water is, can easily pick up a 2-liter and undo the top. So these are really good to have on hand. So you guys saw before that because I only have one sink, we put a bowl in here to keep hot soapy water in, and we could wash hands, wash dishes, whatever in there. We could rinse in this section and then put things to dry over here. Something that kind of surprised me, and simply in the fact that I hadn't thought about it before, is that I've got a garbage disposal, which means I don't have one of those little things that fits in there that has a screen. So after about a week, this filled up with just pieces of food and debris from us doing the dishes and dumping back and forth, and it clogged up. Luckily, we had a toilet plunger, so just a couple plunges, and that opened right on up. But without power to run the disposal, it's probably best to stop the debris from going down there anyway. But if you don't do that, remember to have a backup plan. So after about 5 days of doing dishes constantly, I remembered I had paper plates. And this made life a lot easier, so we wouldn't have to wash our regular chinaware when we were done with it. So we would use the plate, put all the, anything that was left over, including the plate, into the compost. These are like a cardboard, bleached cardboard, so that worked really well. Then we had some of these for like smaller stuff, but that worked really well. It takes a lot of water to wash plates, and we were already washing our cookware, so that was a huge time saver. So you guys know we kept our freezer going by cycling it for a couple hours a day. And one thing that really helped, and I've been doing this for years, is when I have empty larger size containers, fill them with water and then put them in the freezer so they make a block of ice. From here you could take it and put it in a cooler, you could put it in a refrigerator to help it keep cold, or in this case it stayed in the freezer. And then of course, like everybody, I've got a million of these kinds of things, and these I actually put on the cold food that we were trying to keep down to freezer temperature, and that worked really well too. And finally, something we did when we moved into this house immediately was we put in a hand pump system for our well. This is a simple pump, and as you can tell, it's old and needs some maintenance. It still works. That was for the pressure. We have a deep well, a very deep well. It's 425 feet. Simple pump was the only system we could find that was manual, which would go that deep and allow us to bring water up manually. So if we had run out of water in our containers in the house and all the 55-gallon barrels we had, this was a backup plan for us to get our water. And interestingly enough, we're the only house in the neighborhood that has a manual well pump on the property. Because the well is so deep, it takes a good minute for it to prime to get water up here. But I'll do a video on this in the near future because I think it's an excellent product. One thing I do need to do though is obviously start to buy backup parts for this, because if it ever goes down, I'm not going to easily be able to replace this kind of technology. So I think that covers about everything. Lessons learned. We do have a couple more videos coming on single topics, but gosh, today's a beautiful day, and I can tell you that I've never been so thankful to have water coming out of the tap before. Anyway, let me know if you guys have any questions, and yeah, we'll see you soon.